Basically, if we think about the term international business in the present scenario, let me ask you a simple question. Do we have a choice but doing business internationally? In the present times, there's hardly anything which can be called as a localized or domestic business. Everything right from our consumption to investments to operations, human resources, everything is already international in nature. If you just look at the different, you know, products which we are consuming, whether it is the food items, whether it is the clothing and accessories, whether the cell phones or other electronic gadgets, we will find that we are using international brands. We are, and this is a, the same, the story is same for almost all the parts of the world. I would not talk about the exceptions, but for most of us, it is the same story. So what we are, hello, you want to say something? Anybody who wants to chip in something? Anybody who wants to add to what I have said so far? Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir,
Yes,
you're
sir.
audible.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Good. What I want is, I want you guys to be more participative. If I ask you some questions, or if you have any queries, or if you have something to add to the discussion, that will be good for all of us, right? This way, all of us will learn together. Right? It should not be just a monologue, right, from one to many kind of a communication that I keep on speaking and you just keep on listening or hearing, right? There's a difference between the two, listening and hearing, but uh, we will not go into that. So, what I was talking about is that in the present times, business is, all but international. It is international, right? Even the small businesses, they cannot say that they are kind of, you know, insulated or isolated from the different changes that are taking place in different parts of the world, whether those changes are in terms of legislations, in terms of laws, whether those changes are taking place in terms of technology, whether those changes are taking place in terms of the fluctuations in the foreign exchange rates, right? So these are some of the examples which I'm quoting. So all of us are getting affected, and those who are doing business, those who are running firms, who are into the business of making and selling products, whether domestically or abroad. I mean, everybody is getting affected by these changes, right? So, coming back to our this course of international business, let me just give you a brief idea about the syllabus. It is available on the department's website. You can, go into the, log into the AMU website, go to the department site, look for the faculty. And for, in my, against my name, Dr. Asad Rahman, you can find some of the presentations You can find the syllabus of international business. So that is there for your perusal. And from time to time, I'll be sharing the whatever study material that is required to be discussed during the course of our study together, and any kind of supplements which are needed, or which we deem fit for discussions in the class, we'll try to share that. So a very basic question let me put forth before you: what is the need for international business, or what is the need for international trades? Or the same question can be put in a different way, that what are the drivers, what are the factors which kind of create a climate which is more favorable for international business? I want your responses.
Sir, according to me, with the rise of globalization, our whole world is becoming very smaller. There are some
Okay.
economies which have mass number of human resources, like India and China, which are
Okay.
able to provide services to countries like America, where the
Okay.
requirement of human resources.
Okay.
So uh, it is very important for a to optimize the resources
Okay.
of
Good.
whole world
Okay.
effectively.
Very fine. Kindly introduce yourself. What's your name?
Yes, sir. My name is Rajat Vashni.
Okay, Rajat. So you are from Aligarh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So that's a very good point. You talked about globalization. Fine. You talked about optimization of resources, mainly the human resources, right? So therein you have a very important, a very valid point, that today the world has become, like a small global village, right? No longer you can, say, people used to say that, there was a phrase, we use it sometimes in the folklores, in the fairy tales, Saat Samandar Par. I mean, that is gone. It has lost its relevance, right? अब कोई चीज सात समंदर पार नहीं रह गई है. What has happened is that because of the advancements in the communication technology, whether it is internet, whether it is artificial intelligence, whether it is augmented reality, and so on. I mean, these are some of the things which we keep hearing, right? These are some of the terms which we often encounter in our day-to-day lives. Plus the travel technology, the travel between different countries. There was a time when people used to take the ships and travel between different continents or countries, and it used to take months and sometimes years to reach the destination. Today, if you look at, I mean, I'm sure most of you must have, you know, had the experience of visiting the airport. The airport of today, they are so crowded. They don't look like airports. You know, they at best resemble some upgraded version of a bus stop, of a bus station. That's how I perceive. People are traveling between countries like they used to travel between the different cities of their own, home country. No longer, I mean, that inertia or that hesitation for of traveling between different countries, whether for education, whether for employment purpose, whether for healthcare, whether for tourism, whether for business, and so on. They are, uh, what we find, that the frequency of international travel has increased manifold, and it has in fact become easier also. The process of obtaining visa in so many cases, the countries have the facility of visa on arrival, or you can have e-visa. Only very few countries have a difficult or a lengthy procedure of giving or granting visa to the visitors from abroad. So this is one thing. And any other
Sir, it strengthens the country's economy. Plus, there is more competition among companies. Like they are promoting new products in the market.
Okay, that's also a very valid point, that for any economy to grow, there is a point of saturation. So the development or the growth of that economy, when it reaches the saturation, the only way or the only solution that seems kind of possible for registering further growth or further development, it is being sought through the international business by expanding your markets, right? Not only catering to your domestic or local market, but also expanding the market, making inroads into other countries. It may also be, to a certain extent, a diplomatic gesture. All those countries which are having good, relations, good bilateral relations with each other. So one way to show good relations is to have good trading relations, right? And as very rightly pointed out, that uh, you know, it is the most sought after way for any economy to grow, right? To grow by growing and by growing, by going global, by becoming an economy which has different firms, which has different companies, corporations, which are selling their products and services in the international markets. Any other,
So with the
driver, any other? Yes,
so with the rise
please.
of LPG model,
Yes. Can you elaborate?
so rise of sub-liberalization, privatization, and globalization model.
Okay. This is taken care of already, but anyways, good. Thanks for contributing. What else?
Sir, with the help of export and importing, for example, if there are not all resources available in a specific country, so
Okay.
different resources can be used in different countries
Okay, that's very good.
with the help of
Very good.
globalization.
That's also very, very important point. In fact, what we find that different countries have their specialization, or what we may call as core competence, right? Some countries, like say, for example, if we talk about Japan, so we find that its core competence lies in innovative technological products. Some countries have, specialization in, say, textiles, fabrics. Some countries, they excel in chemicals, fertilizers, and so on, right? So international business or international trade is a way of realizing the the best of one's core competence, right? You excel in any one particular or two or three, whatever may be the number of products and services. So it is better that we try to focus more on those products and services, and the other products and services which are needed, they may be imported, right? So you export what you are, you know, you are best at making or at producing. So you export those products to other countries and import the best which the other countries are producing, right? And it can be in terms of both products as well as services. So this is one way, and this is obviously the premise of the different trade theories which we will be discussing subsequently, right? There are different theories like theories of comparative cost advantage, theories of absolute cost advantage. So basic idea is that we should focus on our core competencies. We should try to focus on those products and services which we can make, or best in terms of quality, and also if we are able to realize the lower costs. That's also very, very important, because if we keep on increasing the cost of production, then obviously that product is going to lose its edge, its competitive edge in the international markets. Any other factor that comes to your mind? Yes, yes, loudly. I can't hear you.
Production cost.
Okay, cost of production, very, very important. In fact, you are you are near a very important point that is called as the economies of scale, right? So if you are
So,
making a
uh,
yes, yes,
so the presence of low labor cost in some countries has
yes,
expanded this international business.
yes, and that's why we find that there's a growth of the different business BPO centers and knowledge processing outsourcing centers in different parts of the world. And today we find that most of the big brands, they have their production facilities which are located in different parts of the world, primarily because of this reason which you have quoted, that they want to realize the advantages of lower cost, low cost of labor, low cost of land, low cost of raw materials, some subsidies given by the government. So basically everybody wants to realize the low cost of the different factors of production, right? So some countries, they are, or some economies are capital intensive, right? We find that all big industries, all their production is highly machine based. In some economies, that we find that it is labor intensive, because of, as we were talking about India and China, where you have the very high population. So this population can be gainfully utilized in such operations which are labor intensive, right? So the prime objective is to realize the economies of scale when you expand your production, so you can you know spread the per unit cost. You can spread the variable cost, I mean, sorry, the fixed cost of production, because the fixed cost remains the same. So but it will spread, or it will come down as we increase the scale of production. So these are some of the factors. Is there any other thing that comes to your mind why we find that there is a climate which is more favorable for international business? Anything from the consumer's perspective? Till now, we have talked mainly from the perspective of an economist. Whatever factors, whatever reasons that we have quoted, they are primarily having, the economic overtones.
So preferences and taste.
Yes, very good. preferences and taste of the consumers. Can you elaborate? Anybody from the class? Yes. How the consumer taste and preferences are, contributing to the growth in international business? In what ways? Yes. You'll get your answers from what you have learned in marketing management. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
बताइए क्या किस तरह से कंज्यूमर के टेस्ट और प्रेफरेंसेस जो हैं इंटरनेशनल बिजनेस को, हाउ दे आर एक्टिंग एज ए फ्यूल टू द इंटरनेशनल बिजनेस.
Sir, with the help of international business, customer has
Yes. Anybody from the class?
so with the
The
help of
availability of more variety of products to the consumers.
Very good. Very good. So,
Sir, I think cultural aspect play an important role in the international business.
okay.
Better quality of products as they are imported from other places.
Okay, that's also very, very important. International brands. I mean, when what happens is that today we all get exposed to the international, uh, you know, uh, standards of consumption, whether it is through movies, whether it is through the different videos on the YouTube and other channels, and which which kind of create aspirations in the consumers for adopting similar standards of consumption. No longer the choice of the consumer is restricted to the brands which are produced in the home country. With the international business growing, we find that the global brands are being made available, not just through export or import, but they are being produced in our own country. The different companies have already made their presence. I mean, they are already present in the different countries. They are having their production facilities, they are having their operations. And if you talk about the different brands, whether we talk about, Coca-Cola or the other soft drink brands, if you look at the the footwear brands, the sports uh, shoes, the different brands are already available now. Gone are the days when people used to request their friends or relatives who were residing abroad that please, when you come back, you get me this pair of shoes or you get me this thing or that. Now most of them are already being produced in your own country, right? And with the international standards and specifications, most of the international fast food chains are available. Even if you talk about education, some of the off-campus programs or some of the collaborations with the Indian universities, we find that some international universities have an academic tie-up and they are running their courses. So what we find that because of the exposure, we our tastes and preferences are gradually shifting in the favor of international standards of consumption, wherein we are, kind of more tilted towards the international or the global brands. No longer the choice is limited. I mean, during the vacations, people used to, and people still go to, the different places within one's own country, whether it is Kerala, Kashmir, Rajasthan, Northeast. Now the choice set has expanded. With the same amount of money, people can go to Dubai, people can go to Turkey, can go to Malaysia, Thailand, and so many other places and have an international experience. So this is one example which I am quoting. As we, move ahead with our discussion, we'll find that the consumer's choice has expanded, and it has expanded more in the favor of, international products and services. So all these factors plus many more are, shaping the growth or stimulating the growth of international business. Any other point which you want to talk about?
Sir, social status, like to appear modern and sophisticated.
Yes, very true. Quality status, quality consciousness, social status, very true. That's also very important. So whether it is in terms of consuming the international products, right? Especially the products which are visible, right? The luxury products which are visible, like, sometimes high-end watches, sometimes the cell phones. Cell phone is not a luxury product anymore. It is a utility product, but then obviously some brands are far more expensive than the commonly available brands. So that is what makes it, some kind of a social status. That's a very, very valid point. The clothes or apparel brands which people wear, the shoes, they are all parts of necessity, but they are visible. So people want to show off the brand which they are wearing because it gives them a feeling of being exclusive. So that is also a very, very important point. Well taken. Any other thing that comes to your mind?
Can we have workforce diversity in terms of services, the firms which are providing services?
You're not audible. There's some disturbance.
Uh, so I was saying that can you add that the workforce diversity, that those firms which are providing services, they're looking for the workforce diversity in their firm.
Yeah, that is also there. That's also there. So basically what we have discussed, I mean, just it's a preliminary discussion. It's like, kind of an ice-breaking session that we are having, right? We will have more serious sessions after Eid al-Azha, right? You have your breaks for the 2 days. So basically, in this particular course, we will try to look at the different functional areas of business, whether it is marketing, whether it is the human resources, the finances, and the operations, all the 4 major areas from the perspective of international business. I mean, how to manage the marketing function for a firm which is having its operations, in different parts of the world. How to manage the human resources in different parts of the world, because a multinational corporation, it has its subsidiaries located in different parts of the world, and managing people from different cultures. I mean, as it is, managing people is one of the most difficult, part of business, right? Human beings are very difficult to manage, and it becomes all the more challenging when we are trying to manage people from different countries, coming from different, cultural backgrounds, people speaking different languages, observing different, they are adhering to different faiths and religions. So there is so much of diversity to deal with that it becomes really very difficult for, the managers who are managing people from different countries. And this may be seen, there are so many examples in the foreign countries where so many expatriates are working, people from different nationalities, and they are having, different cultures, different languages, and not just that, but different kind of body languages. So it's really very difficult to manage people in such a diverse setting. Similarly, if you talk about marketing, the culture is a very, very important force that we will discuss subsequently. That how people who are your target audience, how you have to deal with them, especially your products and communications, how they need to be adapted or how they need to be slightly modified in order to fit into that, that cultural setup more than anything else. How you are, going to communicate your message in different countries, in different languages, different types of slangs are to be used. Translating the same message as it is sometimes may not work. Then there are different legislations in different parts of the world regarding the advertising and communication. We shall discuss these things subsequently. Similarly, we have already talked about in the, in today's discussion, we have primarily focused on the operations and economics part of international business. That is about the location of your production facilities, realizing the economies of scale, availability of raw materials, availability of cheap labor, and not just cheap labor, but they should be skilled labor, not just cheap labor, but when the labor should be skilled as well. So that is, and plus the supply chain management, the logistics and distribution, how the products will be produced and how they will be, reaching their destinations in a given time period. So time is important, the cost of transportation, all these things are there. There are so many. In this semester, I'm sure that you have a full-fledged paper on operations management. So you will be understanding these things in detail. And then one last thing before I call it a day, that is about the international finance. In different parts of the world, different currencies are being used. So how the transfer of these currencies from one country to another will take place. Obviously, now you have the electronic modes of payment, electronic fund transfer. But then, because of the fluctuations in exchange rates, there is every possibility that some of your, money is paid out in the forms of commission. Sometimes it gets eroded because of an unfavorable movement in the exchange rates, plus the consolidation of accounts of the different subsidiaries or your business units which are located in different parts of the world. So this is where I will end today's discussion, that we will be focusing in on almost all the things that I have highlighted in today's discussion, and I shall be sharing with you the different study material or the PowerPoints. Meanwhile, those of you who are interested, you can visit the department's website and locate the syllabus and some of the presentations which are already present there. So thank you very much for being present
sir.
for this class. I take your leave now.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.